forward faster.
Howdy, folks. City Pigeons, episode 115.
Good evening, ladies and gents.
Fink still?
Yes, Eagle!
Yo, Fink, that was
ready.
like a month and a half ago, bro.
Fink.
Oh, we're not doing this no more?
If you haven't heard, Fink's back. Let's head over and check in with him real quick. Fink, you're coming back with a bang, buddy.
Heard the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, when you missed, one could argue that the last month was one of the most critical time periods for the podcast, and we needed to have our A game. And, one of our most important contributors was gallivanting across Florida and beyond. So one would question whether you're really there for us, Fink. What do you have to say about that?
Sounds like I'm in trouble.
Good.
I'm out of here.
No. We love
when you gallivant. Please.
I am Jesse Randell. This is Mike Meach.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
On the stage at the Coop, and we got our boys. Tommy,
very excited to be here tonight.
Tommy and Fink at the bar, holding it down.
Really repping the brand strong tonight.
Matching.
Yeah, guys wore the matching City Pigeons hoodies. Questionable maybe, but we love them nonetheless, and we're happy to have you back, Fink. And I think sadly, I guess this episode does kind of mark the official transition on from the Super Bowl. I know that we're never gonna forget about it, but we've doing episodes that solely revolve around it. I think we had to kind of wrap that up. And now we got March Madness happening, which many people argue is the best time of the sports calendar, and we'll get into that.
I wouldn't argue that.
You're not going to argue that?
Well, people just don't want to work.
I want to hear your thoughts on that. But first, even though I did say we're about to move on for the Super Bowl, we have something in Eagles land that we need to at least talk about because one of our favorite Eagles players of all time, one Brandon Graham, did announce his retirement yesterday. Let's clap it up for Brandon.
It don't matter.
Man,
the best shit talker in Eagles history.
Absolutely. I heard some of the clips they were.
I mean, you can't say that with Brian Dawkins in the.
He just screamed. BG had some.
No, you heard some of this.
But BG talk shit. Dawkins out
he
there.
would tell people that were going to take it. He was going to take
and
their soul.
That's true. When you
talk about Jesus, that's different. You can't.
Yeah. So obviously, nothing but love for BG, and I don't know that there's much more we can add to the conversation around how amazing he was. But I know that over the course of time, some of us had the opportunity to interact with him. And I was wondering if you guys had any moments that you'd like to share, either that you interacted with him or that, stood out to you personally. I can say for myself, I was lucky enough to play in Jason Kelsey's golf outing last year. And shout out to my man, Jeff Tubbs, for hooking that up. And we ended up having BG in our foursome. So we spent, 4 hours playing golf with BG, which was fantastic because, as you can imagine, I think he picked up the game relatively recently, and I wouldn't say he's a proficient golfer, but it was so funny. We're talking to him, and he's hitting shots, and he'd hit a shot, and it wasn't a lot of good shots, but he'd hit a shot and be like, "Oh man, I thought I had that one," and it was just like classic BG, and just such an awesome guy, and interacting with everybody. And it became clear, and not that we didn't know this, the later stage of his career, certainly after the first Super Bowl victory and the infamous or famous strip sack of Tom Brady. From that point on, it was really him drinking in the love that we had for him, because he really played such a huge part in delivering what we had been waiting for our entire lives. And so the relationship with him over the past couple of years was like a love affair. And it was just amazing to be with him and see what he's like. And everybody you talk to across the board said he was a real class act with the fans, and just an awesome guy. Really great to see a player who had his entire career here in Philadelphia, and no doubt will go down as an absolute legend. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to interact with him or had any particular thoughts on BG.
I never interacted with the guy. I've never met him or come in contact or anything, but it is super rare to be a 14, 15-year NFL player with the same team. Like, that's awesome. He's such a Philly legend. But I do remember the year he got drafted. It was they traded up, I think, to like 11 for him. And who was the safety? Earl Thomas from Texas.
Yeah.
And everybody was convinced that Earl Thomas. And I remember I made fun of somebody tweeted something about Brandon Graham, and I retweeted and I go, "That's Adam Schefter's Rookie of the Year." And then like 2 days later, he blocked me. But I mean, he literally blocked anybody that mentioned his name or slandered him in the least.
Did you hear in his? He was answering a question, and they were asking kind of when his relationship changed. He said when he unblocked everyone. On
Well,
Twitter.
that was I don't know if you
That's
saw
great.
earlier this week. Jimmy Kempski retold the story. He's a Eagles beat writer. And he retold the story where all that season, he said, "Hey, Brandon, if you guys win the Super Bowl this year, would you let me unblock everyone on Twitter for you?" He's like, yeah, no problem. And he said he kept reminding them throughout the year. And then when they won the Super Bowl, they actually sat down together
That's amazing.
and unblocked everybody that he had blocked throughout, at that point, up 9 years of his career, 10 years of his career. But that's the kind of good sport he was. I mean, he was obviously very offended that all these Philly fans were talking shit on him to block. Like he would search his name and individually block everyone. Which
I can
had to
appreciate
take,
that kind of pettiness.
yeah, I do. It's pretty awesome, and to see how the relationship eventually turned out. I mean, goddamn legend, and comes back in the Super Bowl after missing all that time with the tricep, tears his tricep again. It's just, I wish him the best. I hope he stays in this area forever. I hope he gets a media job here because he really deserves it. He's a informative dude. He's awesome, and he's a legend, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Yeah,
He was great. I actually did get to spend some time with him before one of the MTWB shows. One of VIP tent beforehand. It's kind of thing. There was a ton of people, and you can kind of get stuck talking to people you might not want to talk to. And he and I just got stuck for an hour, and we chopped it up about parenthood for the entire time. And I was like, this is a guy that truly, and listen, we've been fortunate to have a lot of those kind of guys coming through that are relatable, but to be able to sit there with somebody and chop it up like that about the day-to-day struggles of being a parent and raising kids and all that stuff was pretty cool. So, I mean, we've definitely been fortunate and lucky to have a guy like that.
But to stick through
behind.
15 years in the NFL, through
Incredible.
injuries, through contract disputes, through on the verge of getting cut. I mean, there's a million things that could go into a guy leaving a team in the NFL. And
Thank
to
you,
stick
Cody.
through, because here's another thing you got to think about. Like, now, he's probably not going to make the Hall of Fame. I think we can agree on that. If you look at his stats overall, they're just not good enough cumulative to make the Hall of Fame. But he's going to be a guy who you have to retire his jersey, right?
He'll be the Eagles Hall. Yeah, he'll be the Eagles Ring of Honor. Yeah, absolutely. I
But
think he's first
so
in games
so
played,
now this
second in sacks,
would
third in
lead to
sacks.
another thing. I think the Eagles, say they win 3 more Super Bowls in the next 6-7 years, which is going to
I like
happen.
where
It's
you're
going to
at.
be awesome. But say it happens. Now, do you retire all these guys' jerseys who are maybe not Hall of Famers, but they're true Eagles? And it gets slow where you're going to start losing numbers to where there's going to be none left for players to wear. You already retired.
We'll cross that bridge when we
Donovan.
get there.
I guess so,
We'll
but
happily cross that
good
bridge.
problems.
But in the meantime, I think it's a consensus. You have to retire his, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
look
he's
at his
played-
team now. You got him, Lane, Kelsey, Mailata's on his way. Who
Now-
else? I mean, Jalen could arguably be on his way.
Are we going to retire Trent Cole's number too?
You guys know the
Trent
fourth-
Cole,
do
Trent
not-
Cole
do
has
not
better
bring up
stats
that-
than
oh, I
BG.
don't
I'm
wanna
just
hear it.
saying.
I love
Yeah,
Trent Cole, but I
but
heard
right,
that on the
this is
radio.
the thing where you get
I'm just playing the other
Yeah.
side. I'm
No,
just playing. There's
But
no hard
it's a
feelings.
legit argument.
Yeah,
This is
'cause,
where
like-
if you get into stats, but Trent Cole didn't spend his whole career
I
here.
agree.
He didn't win 2 Super Bowls. It's a legacy thing.
Yep.
And I think Brandon Graham's legacy and the fact, like, it's just as impressive when T.O. came back to play in the Super Bowl, man. Like that's the only thing that,
But wait,
that he
real
had
quick,
left.
Didn't Brandon Graham, he has played in more games for the Eagles than anyone else, right?
He has he's number one in games.
number
played.
one.
Kelsey
Number
has
one.
Kelsey has the consecutive
games, but
The BG.
Graham as total.
And I was talking to my wife. She's like, "Oh, did BG retire?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was trying to explain to her the fact that he has 2 Super Bowl trophies is like, just having 2 championships in Philadelphia alone. I don't care who you are, and there's only a couple guys
Short list.
that have that. We know Lane. He's on a trajectory to be in the Hall of Fame. Great to see him sign an extension, by the way. So he'll definitely be in the
Thank you.
conversation. Jake Elliott, a lot of people were hating on Jake. He did what
Got
he had
2.
to do in the Super Bowl,
In
and
spite of Goodhart.
yeah, exactly. So, there's
So
going to be
you know who the other one is?
Rick Lovato.
Yeah.
Dude, I was gonna
Yeah.
say the snapper. I couldn't remember
we
his
give
name.
They just cut, and his wife was on Instagram like she had a snake emoji, like they fucking did him
No.
dirty.
No.
Yeah. And they signed a long snapper from the Cleveland Browns.
Shouldn't
to
you be
replace him.
happy that you've had that kind of longevity at that position?
It is, but it's funny when NFL players' wives speak, because I also saw
Well,
some
that's
shit
one
where
thing, but it's a long snapper's wife is a whole
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
That's
Well-
a whole other thing.
well I not to derail the conversation.
Go ahead, derail
but, who's that fullback for the Niners? Well, he got cut, right? And then Fred Warner's wife was talking shit about them and they're how cliquey that they are.
Mhm.
And then 4 days later, he
They
re-signed with
re-signed with- oh, I love
the
it.
team. I'm like,
I
man,
love
how
You guys know
awkward
I'm
must
here
that
for
be?
all the 49ers
I love
drama.
that.
Screw those guys.
That's how you say it.
By the way, a friend, my wife sent me the
Fucking bum,
clip.
that's how
You
you
guys
say
have
it.
all seen the clip of the Transformer guy at the theme park telling the kid in the 49ers
Yeah.
shirt
So
that
good.
they didn't get it done. And that, you guys know, I have personal beef with the Niners. So seeing that just made me
That's
extra
so good.
happy.
I have personal beef with Transformers, but that's a separate.
Okay,
Um,
I'm not getting that.
no, but listen, here's a play.
kind of derailed.
Here's a play that just cements his legendary status, dude. There's like a 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in a Super Bowl. We're up 5. It's 2nd and 2. Tom Brady's been carving us up for an entire half.
Yep.
Like there's no way we could stop him.
Yep.
There has to be a hero. Like I don't think a defensive back could step up. There has to be one guy who's like, listen, man, if anybody's going to change the course of this game, I got to do it.
Yep.
And Graham, there was no turnovers up until that point in the game. Either team, nobody turned it over. And he, like, Tom Brady doesn't do that shit, man. That's the kind of stuff where at that point, and if you see, what's that guy that played for the Patriots, that running back. I'm thinking Kevin Falk,
Deion
but
Lewis?
it's not. No, it's the dude who ran all over the Falcons in the Super
Burkhardt?
Bowl. No,
Damn.
James
James White.
White. He was wide
know all
open.
of them,
He
by
was
the way.
wide open coming out of the flat for at least a 15-yard gain. Probably would have dipped out of bounds before the 2-minute warning, and they would have got an extra. Like it was inevitable that the Patriots were going to win that game. They've done it a million times. And
Yeah.
the only
You
thing
had
that
to
can
get a
stop
turnover.
it is an act of God or Brandon Graham. And thank you, Brandon.
Thank you for
that.
I appreciate
That was
it.
really funny to me because you're like, here's a play that cements his legacy. And I'm like, you started telling the story. I'm like, oh, well, there must have been like another play that's not as popular. But you were like, you were talking about the play that everybody knows. Like we didn't
But
already.
I know,
that.
but it's so rare that if he didn't step up and do that, the game was over. We lost it.
Look, the defenses in that game were so bad that basically every time the offense had the ball, they were gonna score, and it was just a question of who was going to get that turnover first, and
Or who was going
he
to
did
score
it.
last.
he did it.
Instead, we got the turnover.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah. So BG, we love you.
Yeah, it's a little known play in Eagles folklore.
Yeah, Meech uncovered the play that he'll be known for forever. Thank you, Meech. Just
The
amazing
ball still
stuff.
bounced around forever
Now,
in the end zone.
I will say this: Meech understood the assignment here. It's March Madness. It's got the St. John's jersey on. I got a question for you. How long have you owned? Like right now, obviously, St. John's has finally returned to prominence, and I don't even remember when. I know it was like the '90s was the last time that they won the Big East.
It was like
and-
Felipe Lopez. You remember the
Oh,
freshman
yeah.
phenom?
Absolutely.
But Ron Artest, he was my guy. I love St. John's. They were the first college team that I liked because of Chris Mullen. And then I think Nike re-released these in the late 90s. They did like college and high school ones. They came out with a Gratz Rasheed Wallace one,
Yep.
no way.
which I had, and somebody stole down the shore. Somebody.
Well, it's not. It's
Oh,
got
at some
that
point in
Nike
time.
logo that you don't see anymore on
Yeah,
there. You know,
this
so it's
is-
kind of cool.
This is definitely a retro. It was probably 96, 97, something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
a Mullen, dude.
Yeah, it's
That's amazing.
Chris Mullen. 3-time Big East Player of the Year, Chris Mullen. Back when they had like Pat Ewing
The
and
greatest left-hander
Mark
in the
Jack-
history
I mean,
of basketball.
he was so good, and he was drunk.
better.
He was drunk probably half the time he
You think?
walked into the gym. No,
Mullen?
he admitted it. He was a
Respectfully.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
raging alcoholic, and he
No
would.
longer.
Whatever works.
Yeah,
No
It
longer.
worked for him. Anyway, so we
but the
got-
Johnnies are back. Rick Pitino's got him back,
Yeah, baby.
and
The vampire
you
himself.
got to have Patino in the mix. You know, you got to have him in there. So happy to see him back. And you know, March Madness, a lot going on. it's Wednesday night. We got the tournament starting tomorrow. I know myself personally, I'll be scrambling to fill out. And
I haven't
submit.
even filled out my bracket yet.
How many?
Or looked at?
How many pools do we have going? Like I know.
Did you know that I'm running a bracket pool?
I
So
heard
if you
about
guys
it.
want to get
Fink, you
in,
gotta tell 'em,
$20 a person.
I gotta find my
First
ESPN
place.
login.
Oh,
Come
you
on,
guys
that's too
all do
much.
football
Too
fantasy
much.
on ESPN. Don't give me that
Football
bullshit, okay, Tom?
What's the okay? Give us
Fantasy football.
All right, I assume you want as many people as possible, so give out the information.
First
dude.
place gets 75% of the pot. Second place gets 25%
How
of
many
the
people?
pot.
Check out City
20
Pigeons
$20
Twitter.
a person. You can do unlimited brackets.
How many people usually get?
Like 4,000. We're a little bit under those numbers this week, so I'm suspended from Twitter. So we have like 4.
Fuck you, Elon.
So we're trying to get some more people. Maybe
Sorry.
if Jesse fills out his
Poor little
bracket in
Yeah.
time.
Jimmy.
Listen, I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. I'm just going to be scrambling to do it, which is going to lead to, to be honest with you, and we'll get into this a little bit, that might lead to a better bracket than me actually sitting down.
Stony
and
Brook
thinking,
winning it all.
Yeah, I'm going to, when I sit down and take some time, I'm like, all right, well, this team here, they play, they played in the Big 12, which is are they up or down this year? I have no freaking idea, but they were 20-11. That's not that good. You know what I mean? You try to like come up with some sort of science, and we're going to get into that more.
Quad one, that's a whole new term.
What's that? What's that? What is
The,
it?
the West Virginia governor was complaining about West Virginia not getting in, which is that's hilarious in and of itself. But referencing North Carolina being, I think, 1-11 in quad one games, which I imagine quad one is the Power 4 conferences now at this point.
Okay.
I thought that was a Star Wars character, Quad One. All right, I'm leaving the podcast. Good night, guys.
Get him out of here. No,
See ya.
let me say this. I didn't see the comments by the West Virginia governor, but I did see something like Stephen A. Smith went off about it and whatever. So I gathered he was saying he was pissed off that
You didn't hear, he said it was, he had a press conference and behind him it said National Corruption Athletic Association. This is the governor of West Virginia.
okay,
You
now
know, like one of the poorest states in the country, National Corruption Athletic Association, and called it robbery and crimes to the highest degree, which is unbelievable and is totally some politician just pandering to his base.
all right, I have to say this because if I'm keeping it real, that reminds me of something that Ed Rendell would have absolutely done. You know what I mean? Like if there was a team in Pennsylvania,
yeah,
that
but
he
Pennsylvania's
felt-
not West Virginia.
I would say my dad, I don't know if you guys saw this, you probably didn't, but the Penn fired their basketball coach,
Respectfully.
right? Steve Donahue, who is a guy he used to coach under Fran Dunphy. And then he went out, I think he coached Cornell for a while, came back to Penn. He was here 9 seasons. And, I love my dad to death, but he somehow got in touch with the Daily Pennsylvanian. Next thing you know, there's an article, Ed Rendell slams Penn for getting rid of
I
their
love it.
I love
Yes.
it.
Get him.
like
Get
but
'em.
this is and like this is I don't want to say inside baseball, but this is what it's like having Ed Rendell be my dad. I was talking to the woman that is kind of his chief of staff, and she's like, "Your dad's so pissed off about the Penn coach. He's calling everyone. He called Steve. He called the coach. Like he's all pissed off." And then I see he's got this article in the Daily Pennsylvanian, and I'm like, look, I don't know if my kids are going to have the ability to get into Penn. We'll see. But this is not helping. This is not helping. He went to Penn. I went to Penn.
Sorry, Dean.
He gave the Daily Pennsylvanian an
Sorry,
exclusive interview slamming them. But his point was a good one. Okay. Just as we get into college basketball, because you guys know the NIL money thing has changed completely how things are in college basketball. It's crazy. And, I actually don't know the answer to this. I think it's the Ivy League as a whole opted out of that, or there's they've treated it in a certain way where kids don't have the same opportunities for NIL money that kids that go to other schools have. And so his point was, how are you going to say that you're not going to do that, and then you're going to fire a coach for not winning? You can't do the same. You can't do both of those. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So but going back to the original point, God forbid if Penn Penn would never get in that situation, because you either get the automatic bid by winning the Ivy League or you're not in the tournament anyway. But, if Pitt or somebody, I could totally see him having a press conference and just railing against that. I mean, as you can see, he's not going to hold back if he feels strongly about something, especially related to college basketball. So we got to respect him for that. You know what I'm saying, guys?
Thanks,
Wow.
Ed.
I agree.
Anyway.
There was nothing better than having the Gov doing post game live, man.
That's right.
The governor.
Gov had a long tenure on Post Game Live, and those were good times. So thinking about March Madness, there are parts about it that everybody loves. Obviously, you think back to like the Christian Leitner. We've been fortunate enough that here and there, the March Madness games are in Philly. I think they might actually be having some games in connection with the 2026 semi-quincentennial. I don't know if I'm getting that right, but it's the, what, 250?
50. Yeah,
250? I should know this.
250.
My dad's like chair of the Philly 250 committee. But yeah,
can he get us tickets to the All-Star game?
you know what? I'm definitely going down that road.
Please.
And the
Whether
World
you
Cup?
guys are coming with me,
No,
I'm
no.
not
Cup.
sure yet.
Yeah. Include me in that.
I'm not
I
sure.
call dibs right now.
Dibs.
So anyway,
Cut this and make a YouTube short of it or whatever.
right.
they
Okay.
are.
We'll put it in
A
there.
tick-a-tock.
So yeah, I think we're gonna have
Tick-a-tock.
some
A
games
cake-a-walk.
come back. My memory that comes to mind, a couple years ago, I went to the Purdue versus St. Peter's game where
Yeah,
St.
that was
Peter's
awesome.
upset them. That was fantastic.
VCU with Shaka Smart. That was a great run.
Was that Robbie Hummel?
that
in
was a great
Purdue, or
run.
Was that in Philly though?
No.
No.
Okay, so it doesn't really go along with but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good moment nonetheless. So as I think about some of my best moments, that was fantastic. But really, the best, I think I've maybe told this story at some point, but you know, when I was growing up, part of the reason that my dad called to complain about or did an interview complaining about the Penn coach being fired is because he never misses a Penn game. He used to go to every game. Now he's able to watch them on ESPN Plus, which is kind of amazing. You can see any college basketball game via ESPN Plus. It's a phenomenal thing. So he's very dialed into the Penn stuff. But back when he was the mayor and I was probably 12 or 13, that was in the heyday of the Jerome Allen, Matt Maloney era. I would say best Penn team ever. But anyone who knows anything about Penn knows they actually won the national championship back in the 70s, right? Making this right? I know they lost to Villanova.
70s.
They lost to Villanova. Anyway,
Maybe
whatever.
like the 30s.
Point is this, 90s, amazing team. And I was fortunate. We'd go to every game, we'd be in there. And you know how these days when they do the tournament selection, they have like a camera on every team,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Well, if you recall, that didn't used to be the case. They would do it for some of the bigger teams, but I don't think the technology was as easy as it is now to like have that all set up. And the teams didn't do as much for that as they do now. And we actually were able to go the years those teams were really good. We went into this room like by Franklin Field. They have these really cool rooms. And we were with the team when the announcement was made for them to be in the tournament. So I was literally like chubby Jess in the room gobbling down all the food.
That's so good.
And, you know, Fran Dunphy and Matt Maloney and Jerome Allen are all there. And they like announce where the team's going to play. And I actually went to at least 3 or 4 of those. One of my memories, I'm getting deep into the bag here, but Penn played Alabama in Baltimore, actually, Tom.
Yeah.
And there was a particular player from Alabama who absolutely shredded us. Any guesses who that might be, you guys? I will tell you this. He played for the Denver Nuggets.
McDice?
That's correct.
Antonio
Great
McDice.
job, Tommy.
I'll take
Listen,
it.
I watched this game. I've never seen anyone dunk so hard on what was clearly inferior competition. Antonio McDice,
5'10" white
beasted.
guys getting dunked on.
he just beasted Penn. But those were great days. So those are my memories. And watching the tournament and filling out brackets with my dad has become, you know, a really cool annual thing that we do. So I'm sure everybody else has really cool memories about it. It's just a kind of special time. Plus, most people get to just totally check out on work and start watching college basketball at 12 o'clock. I won't do that because I'm responsible. But for everyone else, that's kind of the deal. So that's cool too. Do you guys have any particular recollections of March Madness that you'd like to share with the good people on the other end of this transmission?
The best-
You're looking at me
that's
over
really
here.
good.
I'll let you, I'll
I
go.
don't-
but
I
was
don't
gonna
have
let
a
these
good
guys go
memory.
first.
Let's go over here. Go ahead. No, it's fine if it's not good.
I have a March sadness.
That's cool.
moment. You like that?
we like that. Yeah.
Instead of madness, I did
Yeah,
sadness. You get-
it's great.
I just remember
That is what you would do.
Juan Fernandez against San Diego State in the first OT getting called for a lane violation, which I didn't think. Thinking back at it now, Kawhi Leonard hit that shot for San Diego State against Temple, and he ripped my heart out against the Sixers. So I hate that man. Seriously, sorry. I don't like to use the word hate, Tom. You know, I hate that man.
I know you dislike you.
And that's just a sad moment I had that always sticks with me because I thought it was going to be a nice little run Temple's going to make. I think we upset someone in Alabama, maybe. Was it?
Multiple Alabama connectivities there. Beautiful.
Someone
don't
in the
think it
first,
was,
It
but-
was someone that was good in
Yeah.
first round. I thought we were going on a run.
Well, on a related note, those teams that I just referenced, those Penn teams, like they were as good as you could be, and they still the best they did, I remember one year we beat Nebraska in the opening round, and then we lost to Florida in the second round. So they never made it past the second round. Now, Temple.
Just like our Sixers, baby.
Yeah, second round. Temple had some good teams that went deep. So, that was a little bit different there. Tommy, what about you? What does March Madness mean to you, Tom?
Honestly, in a weird way, the first thing I think of when I was in high school, a buddy of mine, Joe Linderman, who actually just got inducted in the Drexel Basketball Hall of Fame, third all-time leading scorer. Our coach let us duck out of practice to go watch Drexel lose in the first round. So even though they lost, like that's immediately the first thing I think of. But also what that represents is, and you touched on it a little bit, just the whole everybody checking out and everybody gets together, whether you're at a bar, whether you're at a party at the Pyramid Club, everybody's doing nothing. And there's something glorious about those first 2 days, that Thursday and Friday. And I know you're a dedicated worker, Jesse, and you're not going to be partaking in this.
No way.
But I don't work. I don't have a job. I'm unemployed. So I will be able to do this freely this year, and it feels great.
All right. Hey, drink it in, man. Drink it in. Meech, how about you, buddy? Besides from your St. John's, did he already go down? Well, go ahead, man.
No, but I mean, I don't really have any fond St. John's memories.
Oh my God,
7
you love
years
St.
old.
John's.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have any. I was 7 years old, but I mean, obviously, since I'm a degenerate, my fondest NCAA memories are gambling. In the 2001 NCAA tournament, it was Mike Miller in Florida versus Mateen Cleaves of Michigan State.
That's epic.
I had two pools in. One had Michigan State winning and one had Florida winning. So I was in a rare position where no matter who, I would either win like $1,000 or $700. And this is back when I was like, I just had a kid for the first time, so it was really worth it. But then on the flip side, I think it was 2006, I had tickets to the first round at the Wells Fargo, and me and my buddy went down. We were at Benny the Bums, which was at the Holiday Inn beforehand. We were putting them down, man. We're like, we're going to go in there, and the rest of the day we're going to hang out because you couldn't leave. It was like a whole day pass. Yeah. We got in there, and they're like, "Yep, no alcohol."
They didn't sell alcohol. I was going to say they didn't sell alcohol back then.
So we went from like being so amped up. So I'm like, I need something to get my juices flowing, right? Now this is bad. There's no. I love this. There's no FanDuel or anything. I had one of those Motorola's that like the flip ones almost that you could type on. It had so I went on to one of those overseas bookie sites. It was like BetUS, one of those sportsbook.com it was, right? And I'm looking at games. Bill Self was the coach of Kansas, and they were playing the Bryant Bulldogs.
They're in there this year.
It wasn't the Butler. No, it wasn't Butler. It was Patrick O'Brien was the fucking player, but his team sucked, whoever they were. And I didn't have $500, but I put it on Kansas to beat them. And I'm at the game watching the score, in the update in the corner of the Wells Fargo. And this team just keeps piling it on fucking Kansas. And I'm giving like 8.5 points. So I think my most memorable time is losing $500 in the Wells Fargo Center when I couldn't afford to lose it.
Another
to Patrick O'Brien.
Another March sadness story. It was sad.
It wasn't that. You like that bad for me. It was fun. Okay, I don't regret it.
So as we all scramble to get the picks in, my question to you guys.
Hold on. Let me find out who Patrick O'Brien
go ahead, bud.
played.
You go ahead because everyone's waiting
for Bradley. He played for Bradley.
Okay, we couldn't have moved on without that. Thank you.
I couldn't have moved on. Maybe you guys could have. It would have.
I'll say this:
me.
I have won a couple times. I was in a big pool, like a law firm pool, one time. I think I won like a G. Man, that was amazing.
That's awesome.
But one of the things that I seriously loathe is watching the tournament on the first day and just like everything, like your entire bracket is going to hell in a handbasket. Just sitting there because it depends where you're watching. If you're watching at a place with multiple screens like the Coop. Great, but usually you're you're back and forth, and now they put all the scores up, and there's nothing like when you had some hope, you had a decent bracket, and then you see
it's gone by 2 p.m.
like one by one. It's just like, oh, I didn't have them, and like you don't even get to day two. You're totally.
Or the worst is like if the biggest upset on day one is a team you had going to the Elite Eight, it ruins your entire weekend.
I know what you mean. That is awful. I know most people look at like the 5-12. My question to you guys is, do you have any actual strategy at all whatsoever when you fill out your bracket? And here's something I think people can relate to, because I think a lot of people are doing more than one bracket. Doing more than one bracket becomes dangerous because you obviously want to create, multiple opportunities to win. And so often, I know myself, I do this. I'll be looking at a game and I'll say, all right, in one bracket, I'm going to take this team, but you know what? In the other bracket, I'll take this team. And sometimes you get so focused on making those brackets different that you end up doing some really stupid stuff. So I wonder how you guys approach this. Is there any methodology?
Yeah, my methodology on everything on a day-to-day basis is to do some stupid stuff. So this is a no exception.
Yes.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Like you put it's the same conundrum I face when I'm filling out my playoff John rosters.
Right.
I usually do 2 teams and I want them different.
And you have never won that or
never
close.
come close. I've
be
never
clear.
won a week in it.
Right.
So it's like I want them different, but at the same time, there's certain things I like that are the same, and then those are the things that are eventually the downfall. It's a perpetual losing circle that I'm currently in right now. But we're gonna break it.
This is the year.
Yeah, this is the year.
I want Meech to win Fink's pool so bad. That would be just tremendous.
DK
Devin won it last year.
Devin won
didn't
on a tiebreaker last year.
she? Fucking crazy.
That sounds like some home
You're in
cooking.
good
No,
Cahoots.
trust me.
No, they
if,
fixed
if
it.
anybody I wanted to win, she's no offense to Devin, she's at the bottom of the list.
Wow.
Girlfriend to
That
win.
is
What
is
hurtful.
it, DK?
I think
You
it was
don't have to-
big.
You don't have to put
She's
up
been
with that.
walking around like,
You don't have
I'm
to put
coming
up
for a
with that.
repeat
Peacocking.
this year. I can't have that shit going on in my house. Like, what the hell, man? That's
Yeah,
bad
but-
for my mentals, man.
Yeah,
If
it's
Dev
about-
is walking around with some
just
found money, that's not good
She's
for you.
walking around shit talking me all
See,
day, man.
here-
She's like, she just pops up. She's like,
But
fucking
here's how you got to
repeat
think
loser.
about
I'm
it.
like, oh my god.
Her winnings are your winnings. Oh, thanks,
Is that how it
babe.
works?
Yeah, go to.
We're not
take me
mad.
out to dinner.
We're not mad. I didn't
Yeah,
make that
you
face. I
won.
didn't make
Take me
that
out to
face.
dinner.
Yeah. Take me out to dinner. Let's
Right,
get my
me out
let me
to
get
dinner.
my feet done for
Think
a change. You
I
know?
know. If you want a big parlay, you would take her.
Oh,
out
I would
for-
treat her to
right.
I always do. Get her flowers.
Is that what you do?
I get her some flowers. Take her out to a nice
Amazing.
dinner.
Oh,
Little
oh,
reciprocation.
But I
Think,
haven't been
time out,
winning
time out.
lately.
Think you're in
so-
trouble because all she said is first of all.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Dev's
no,
in the
she's a-
chat, and whenever it starts
First
with
of
first
all.
of all, and
Dev, I
nothing
didn't know you were
follows,
in the chat. I didn't
Oh,
mean any of
Wait,
this.
better
Dev
duck.
says, hold on. Wait,
better
chill,
duck.
I
chill.
didn't mean any of this.
Dev says, first of all,
First of
follows
all,
it up
you're
with,
done.
I know
First of
ball
all,
at a high
I have
level.
control
okay.
over the comments, and I can put her in
No,
a
you don't.
timeout
No, you
right
don't.
now. Okay.
Anyone, so this is behind the scenes for you. Fink and I both have the ability to show the comments, which can be problematic sometimes because he'll show a comment I didn't realize he did, and then I'll put it up after the fact. But with Dev, I want you to know I got your back. So if Fink tries to take your comments down, I will show them. So
That
feel
TV's
free.
that TV's
to
a
let
little
loose.
too
I
far
got
away
the
for
long
me to
answer.
see
comments.
comments.
She's such a liar.
Anyway, we know that Dev knows ball at a high level. Wait, what does she say here?
Ooh.
She says, ask Eric the
You asked
last
for
time he
Fink.
got me flowers
He
and a
asked
nice
for it.
dinner. I don't know if we want to go down this for
Yeah, let's ask Fink because it was
Go
like
ahead,
a
Fink.
week ago.
Was it?
Dev, it's been a while since he had a parlay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to hit
Yeah.
another parlay.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Come on, he's only a man. What do we got here? This is a
My
free
wife always told me,
country.
she goes, these flowers
Not
are
for long.
they're a waste of your money. Don't do the flowers.
Hey, shout
Take
out
me
to
out to
Dev.
eat. Do
for-
something nice.
Shout out
No
to Dev
flowers.
for coming into the
And
chat
putting up with Fink.
and bringing the thunder.
Dev, I didn't
Whoa.
mean any of that. I didn't know you were listening.
Amazing. No, that
One,
If I
one
offended you
weird
at all.
stat that I
Go
heard
ahead.
the other day that stuck out: an 11 seed has made 8 of the last 10 Sweet 16s. So that to me is a safe bet, and that's something that I
okay.
think-
But see, here's the thing. This is like the kind of thing that is dangerous. And here's what I mean. Okay, let's take that knowledge. An 11 seed has made the Sweet 16. And what would you say it was? How many?
eight of the last 10.
Okay, 8 of the last 10. All right. Well, that's great. I got to still, I'm not going to pick every 11 seed. So I got to pick which one, which means I got a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right if they even make it there. You know what I mean? Like it's very difficult to take any sort of trend.
I'm going to look up the
and
odds of a
extrapolate
team
it.
right now.
VCU,
I'm
a
going to
nice
give
11 seed.
I'm going to
Is
give
that right?
everybody
VCU?
a nice little
VCU could be the 11 seed,
They
folks.
could beat
There's
some
good knowledge for
BYU
you.
action. Them little Mormons up there.
Don't send any shade at the Mormons. I heard it was Andy Reid's birthday.
They're up there
so let's not do
soaking.
that.
Not getting ready. They're not getting ready for the game.
He went soaking. Yeah, we're not going to do a game by game breakdown. I don't know if that's what you guys are hoping for.
Oh,
I don't
yes,
think
we
that's
are.
any
So
good.
we move
Are
on
we?
to Alabama versus Robert Morris right now. So the guard for Robert,
They still make Robert Morris.
I do sit down with my dad though, because my dad watches like more college basketball than any human being. He stays up late, watches like West Coast games. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I really like Gonzaga here, and I'll be like, oh, but they're the second guy off the bench. He tore his hamstring, and
he's so good.
You know, you really, I don't know if that's. I'm like, okay, and then I pick, and that screws me up. So anyway, so.
Well, here's what you got to think about with these big, like even when Duke loses Cooper Flag, Duke, all they have is 5-star recruits.
Right.
Same thing with Gonzaga. If they lose a 5-star recruit, another one's going to come in. They're just a year behind that are going to have to start now.
Now I think you're right, but I will say this: I do think the transfer portal and all that changes things a little bit, because
changes things a lot of it. I agree.
But here's my point. Yes, do they have a 5-star recruit? They might, but they also are less likely to have that guy because of the fact that he saw that he wasn't going to be the guy and he immediately left and went somewhere else. So I don't think those teams are as deep as they used to be, because dudes are not waiting to get their moment. You guys know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think
I want to, if we're done on, are we almost out of the NCAA conversation right now? I want to give one pick for that I would like to.
I'm not done.
Everyone to bet. Okay,
that's okay. But is it related to NCAA?
Yeah. Well, I mean, then I was going to roll on because it was kind of related to what you were talking about.
I'm not ready to roll on yet. But
it was a good segue as the.
I'm not ready to segue. Give your pick.
Transition.
McNeese State to make the Sweet 16 is plus 690. They're going to be your favorite team when you start watching them. They're so cool. They're awesome. They're athletic. They're killers, man. McNeese State. They're going to the Sweet 16.
Wait,
that's
Jeff says
from
I'll
media.
get dinner next time once I win March Madness again. Man, I love it. Okay, so we all have.
They got the juice, Meech.
You guys just glanced by that. Like
I just said they got the juice. They got the manager that comes out with the juice bottles. I was watching that
Oh,
today.
wait, they have the manager.
They're like
okay.
the coolest team.
I'm in.
They're going to be the
NIL deals.
Florida
Hold on.
Gulf Coast University of
What's the manager, Tom?
2025.
Explain
The
the
manager
manager.
comes out rapping a song with them, and I didn't know
He's
that
got
that's
the
who it
boom
was.
box that he comes out with.
That's my squad. I'm in. I saw that clip. I saw that
Sweet
video.
16
That guy's
McNeese State.
incredible.
They're going to be the darlings of the tournament.
All right.
After everybody gets to see them.
Okay, let's see.
You heard it here. Probably 15th. I know there's a billion fucking experts.
Let's see if
I think I heard it from somebody else.
Let's go ahead and see if that comes to fruition. We're going to see. So we all have the standard brackets, and you're throwing in a bunch, and it feels like, just a total random thing. Honestly, like as much as you might think you know something, it feels pretty like you got to get a decent amount of luck there. But I actually went to an event last night that was a totally different take on this, and I wanted to tell you guys about it.
Furry convention?
It was not a furry convention.
Sorry.
No, because I think this is something that we might want to think about doing, or
Going to a furry convention?
Well, sorry, Jeff. Sorry, dude. I shouldn't have done it.
No, that's not it.
See what this snowballs into.
Okay, so a friend of mine sets up this thing every year. They've been doing it for a while, where they have an auction, okay, and they auction off every single team in the tournament, okay, and there are no parameters, right? Meaning you don't get like a certain amount of money,
right?
It's up to you how much money you put into this. And I came into it, I was like, I don't really know. I've never done like any auction stuff. I've never done a fantasy football auction, so it makes me nervous because I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know how much to spend. But when I got there, I quickly realized nobody was doing this on their own. They had formed groups, consortiums, they were calling them, to like invest together.
Gangs.
Right? So this was crazy. Let me explain real quick. Like the way they set it up is like as far as you go, you get a percentage of the pot, right? So if you have a team that loses in the Sweet 16, you get X percent of the pot. The lowest seed that wins a game gets X percent of the pot. Frame of reference, if you have the team that wins the championship, you get 25% of the pot. Okay. I lie to you not. Duke and Florida each over $1,000. Right?
Crazy.
$1,000. Total pot went up to, I think, 12 or 13. It was crazy. And, it was just interesting to see everybody had pooled resources and were investing and had different approaches to it.
It's interesting. I never heard of anything like that.
So I realized
sounds pretty cool.
It could be
for rich people.
Well, yeah, like each one of these teams had at least 3.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing. Like a whole team of people.
You would have loved it. The group that I was with, it was 5 guys.
Should have done.
And I think we ended up spending like $1,200, right? So everybody's got 300 in, and we got a bunch of 4 seeds and whatever. So the bets are kind of hedged. Like, they're going to get far enough that you'll make some money back. You got 5 guys. You're really not going to lose.
Right.
You're not going to lose a ton. And if one of those teams goes far, maybe you win a little bit. But it made me think it might be cool to do it, with our group and maybe set some limits to what you can put in or like figure out a way to do it. Cause it was like a totally different spin, totally different strategy.
It sounds like something that would be fun to do.
Yeah. I was thinking of you and I was like, you would think this is super cool. Everybody had their own strategy. And like, then it was like, some of these teams, the lower seeds were going for like $50, but people had, some people believed in certain teams, and
like
it was
McNeese State.
Yeah, well, like I don't know what McNeese State went for, but probably more than the average team. Anyway, it was super cool. I thought you guys would like that.
Yeah,
and,
it's neat.
we talked about like the guillotine league and fantasy. I always like to see how people are doing some different things. And
Fantasy Joan
being gambler to the core, I thought you would really like this.
No, it sounds really good.
Yeah, so maybe we can
I
do
would-
something like that next
I would
year.
love to waste a bunch of money losing something.
Exactly. Well, it's boom or bust, baby. That's how it goes. It's boom or bust. Okay. Did you want to
Innovator.
transition out of NCAA? Are we done with NCAA?
No, I kind of wanted to talk about like I thought the Sixers are losing right now, but I thought what happened tonight was pretty fucking cool. Now the Sixers are currently playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, right?
Mhm.
Now the Thunder will get our draft pick if we finish the 7th seed or worse. I mean, or better. I mean, depending on how you think
Outside
of
the
better.
top
or
six.
worse.
Let's clarify. That means if we get one of the top 6, we actually get it, right?
Correct.
Top 6 protected is what
Yes.
they said. Okay.
Anything worse than that,
They'll get it.
they'll get the pick.
Okay.
Now, Oklahoma City has built up a 12.5 game lead on the 2nd seed in the Western Conference with about 15, 16 games to play. So they can afford to lose a game. They decided tonight to sit SGA,
Holmgren.
Hartenstein, Wallace, right? Like 3 of their main guys
That's so good.
in order to try and get that pick, because they're definitely going to be the 1 seed. So they're not sacrificing any placement in the playoffs. So this is even though they're losing in this whole argument.
Wait, who's losing?
the Thunder are still 14 points
because the
better than the
Sixers
Sixers right
tanked even harder than them.
We,
which, I mean, they're still playing Quentin Grimes and everything.
we're worser.
But I just love the fact that the Sixers could still get beat at their own game by somebody who's just way better than them that can afford to lose a game.
That's
Right, but what's interesting is
they
they're not going to,
deserve
but they're
this.
not going to do that obviously for the rest of the year. They just did it because they're playing the
because they're
Sixers,
playing head to head,
which is amazing.
right?
And the head-to-head's not going to matter. It's the overall record.
no, but if you've seen the Sixers the other night, they played Houston.
Well, what they're trying
they
to do,
should have won
obviously,
those games.
I'm being stupid.
Oh
They're
my
trying to give the
God,
Sixers
that
another
game.
win.
Yeah.
Right. So that
And did you guys see where Daryl Morey was at that
the AI
conference and he was talking about using AI to,
Mhm.
which, listen, I don't mind. People are going to use AI, but it just
Use AI for your bracket.
when
by
you
the way.
already have a disconnect at being the guy who started the analytics trend in basketball, which like takes the human portion out of it and just looks at statistics and probabilities
corner
and
threes.
like you can mix and match guys. This is my fundamental problem with Daryl Morey is basketball is a sport where you need to build continuity. You need guys who can play together, who build chemistry over. I mean, just it's simple to see when there's never a trade deadline that impacts a team that makes them win the championship in the NBA. It never happens. Even like the Mavericks a couple years ago, they got Kyrie. They missed the playoffs. The following year, when Kyrie and Luka got a chance to play together, they made the NBA Finals. You need some continuity. So I knew this year when the Sixers replaced 10 roster spots, they had no chance. And on top of that, you add to the fact that half of these guys are injured all the time. What I'm trying to get at is this is what Daryl Morey's little AI, like you can run AI a million times. There's no thing that'll run through and predict that Jared Butler and Alec Reese and Hood Shafino will be players on your team in the 50th, 60th game of the year. There's nothing that can then predict that. These are humans. You have to treat them as humans. Same shit, man. Him and Harden were like best friends, and now Harden thinks he's the worst human because he doesn't value human relationships. He thinks everything can be based on numbers and replacing your output with this guy's output. That's not how shit works in the NBA or in real life. Now, on the flip side, you look at the Phillies, and they run the same shit back, where in baseball, it's the one sport where you can pick somebody up at the deadline that can completely change the dynamic of your team. And they just keep running the same shit back. And it's like, yo, these guys' approach to the plate is flawed. And if you're not going to change the players or their approach, it's going to be the same shit. It's like the Phillies are run how the Sixers should be run, and the Sixers are run how the fucking Phillies should be run. It's insane to me that I have to watch these two and at the same time watch Howie Roseman run a master class on how to run an NFL team every year.
Just go Birds.
It's unbelievable to me. But I digress. It's just something I wanted to point out, that it's not about the AI. Like I could put that aside, and I think AI is corny as shit. I hate it, but he takes no human relationship, human ability into account at all. He's a fucking robot.
I mean, that's not what he said, though. If you hear him talk about it, he said that the AI component was like one input.
Right, it's one input, but I'm saying there's nothing you can run with AI that can predict what this team has become. And it's become that because this is how you back yourself into a corner. You had money to spend, and there's only one free agent to spend it on. Paul George had no team to sign him. Like that's what happened. Yeah. It just became something where it's not a numbers game. It's just you don't know how to function as a human and create relationships to where people trust you. And fuck it, fuck the Sixers.
I think we need
go
to get
Phillies,
Meach in touch with Maury.
But it's just going to be the same shit.
We need to get Meach in touch with Maury so we can get him to.
I don't want to be in touch with that.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Skills.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I really don't think it's a good idea.
We're not going to.
We get Michael Rubin to parlay it for us.
Hey, I want to see Meach, Michael Rubin, and Daryl Morey in a room. I would pay for that.
My blood pressure would be through the roof. Don't even do that to me.
Look how salty he's getting.
That's like put me in a room with a fucking venomous snake.
That's what I'm saying. Look how funny.
I just had this moment where I looked at him in the face. It was like you know what it was? It was De Niro. It was like a De Niro face, dude. It was a De Niro face.
It's like the teeth are moving up a little bit in the front.
He reminds me of Robert De Niro.
Stop.
You do.
Please.
Look at you. You remind me of Robert De Niro. It just came to me.
Friend of the pod showed up and posted up in front of us.
You talking to me?
There you go. Boom.
Get him out of here.
Right.
You talking to me?
Get him out of here. It's been enough.
All right, folks.
Travis fucking Bickle over
now
here.
we didn't really. I think we did let Fink off the hook a little bit because my intention was I need to hear a little bit about what you've been doing, man, because you were traveling around.
Shit, man.
Good.
Yeah, man. Can we get some how was where were
we get no vacation
Where did you go
text
in
like,
Florida?
hey guys, wish I could be there.
Where'd you go in Florida, bud? Come on, talk to us a little bit.
We went to a nice little spot about 20 minutes south of Naples, Florida. That is on the west coast of Florida.
And what is
Gulf
the guy
of Mexico?
White sand.
Gulf of America, I thought it was.
Incorrect.
Okay. What is it? What do you do down there, man?
Nothing. That's the best part. Just relax. You're chill. You're on vacation.
You do any fishing?
Went to the beach. I went to the beach.
Miniature golf, any of that stuff?
Went to the beach. We hung by the pool. Last year we did a nice Everglades swamp tour.
Oh, you did the whole pontoon.
Yeah, I went out. We were out. We went out for like 2 hours. Got to see all the gators. I was in heaven.
Loud, right?
It was so fun. But no, we went to the beach. The beaches are nice down there. We had this little secret beach that we go to, which I will not be telling people because it's not that crowded. It's nice.
Did you wear sunscreen?
Is that like the one from the DiCaprio movie?
So the sunscreen, I was good until the last beach day. It was really windy. We were like, we're just gonna go for a little bit. I had a towel around my legs, thinking like, we're fine. I'll be fine. But then when you start moving, because I'm a mover,
gringos like us are never fine.
The towel came
There's
off.
No such thing as
forgot to do the sunscreen. My leg, the back. It was the back of my knees too, so they were bright purple. I got some blisters on them. Had to take the plane ride back. But that's about it. We just went out to dinner, had a nice. We went on a sunset cruise, saw some dolphins.
Sunset Cruise.
Oh.
Yeah, it's real
beautiful.
nice.
I did find your pictures of or your videos of the ocean very soothing.
It's relaxes. You're just hearing the crashing of the waves, the sun shining. No kids running around loud.
I went to Key Largo a couple years ago, and man, did I get sunburned. You know, my problem always is I'm always the guy that's putting the sunscreen on, and I don't
Can't reach everywhere.
Well, what you really need to do is you put the sunscreen on in the hotel room before you even
100%.
go while it's cold.
100%.
Because what I do is I'm like, oh crap, and the kids are like, come on, Dad, let's go, snorkeling. I'm like, I'll be right there, and I slap the sunscreen on and then go in. It's not staying on.
End up
It's
with
not staying on.
lines
And then just absolute
Such
shredding.
a rookie move, just for a down the shore guy.
I know
That's a
all
rookie
this,
move.
all
And the
this.
bald down the shore guy. You would think they normally got it locked up because they got to keep that.
Nah,
dome.
man, I don't plan ahead very well. This is the kind of captivating
You have to
discussion.
sunscreen before you leave the house, man.
This is the captivating discussion that
It's like
you
Gringo
count
101.
on City Pigeons to bring you. On
That's
a
exactly
weekend.
why they're here.
Weekend
And that's
basis.
why people.
Go ahead, Meech.
Any of you guys watch the Tokyo series this weekend? Don't answer that. No, you didn't, because nobody gives a fuck and nobody wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning to
This
watch
weekend,
two
it was
shitty
this
teams
morning.
no one cares
It was
about.
this
Wait,
morning and yesterday.
Can I ask a dumb question? I saw somebody say the first home run of the major league season was hit by somebody in that series. That's not an actual series, though, right?
Yeah, no, it's
this
regular
is baseball.
So, okay, please do explain to me how this is. I'm so confused.
It's been going on for a few years.
No,
now.
I know that, but when is the
We're still
actual
playing spring
hold
training.
Hold up. When is the first day of other actual?
Like 9 days from now. Thanks.
How did you do that?
I figured something out, but I was
You just ruined the entire fucking show.
But I just wanted to.
No.
Just erase the show now.
I wanted to
Stop.
add to the ferry
I'm
talk.
I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
hold on.
I had this saved
Thanks, Fink.
in my phone forever,
Uh-huh.
and we never got to talk about ferries. So
It's a
that's the
picture of
fanatic
mascots. Thank you.
hip hop.
For the audio
That is
crowd,
incredible.
Fink
Fink
just
is
managed to pull up a
taking
picture. I
over.
didn't even know you could do that. Okay, but no, real quick, I have to understand this because when is the next actual regular season
In
game?
like 9-10 days.
So I don't
something like
understand. Please explain to me because I was so confused. I'm like, how could this be real regular season baseball? What am I missing?
You're not missing anything. The MLB starts the season with 2 teams to showcase in an international city. This just so happened to be in Tokyo.
Okay, but it's not an exhibition game.
No, these are real legit
games.
MLB
Okay,
games.
are these teams going to come back to spring training? I'm so confused.
No,
No, they're going to come back.
It is strange to have them playing regular season games and we're still playing spring training. So yes, there is no logical reason. Obviously, the MLB is trying to expand their brand and grow the game, and we're showing.
Okay, when is the first Phillies regular season game?
31st
In like
Look it
8
up.
days.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
Like over a
just
week.
having such a hard time.
It's
These teams that are in Tokyo, they come back and take a week off.
right.
And do they do any spring training or they just hang out?
No, they just hang out.
But other
They
teams
go
are
back
still
to-
doing spring
Well,
training?
no, well, they're going to stop now, and they're going to have a few days.
Okay, then
where-
here's my next question. The other teams, like the Phillies, they do come back and play exhibition series, right?
Yes.
Still. So the Dodgers will not do that?
I don't give a shit.
Well, they can't go regular
I
season.
don't know.
You understand what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah, I'm looking
but
at the schedule,
this
and the
is so
Dodgers don't
confusing
have
to me.
anything scheduled.
Right. So they just sit dormant for a week waiting for their next series.
It's weird.
And
It's
other
weird.
teams
they
wrap
might
up.
do like simulated games or something
Now
like
listen,
that.
if they went to Tokyo like next weekend and then came back and 2 days later picked up with everyone else, that would make sense to me. But I'm so confused. When I saw that, I was like, how is there a regular season home run going on? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
It
no!
just
Wait!
happens.
The
All right,
Dodgers
explain.
play the Angels on the 23rd in another spring training game, so that makes it even weirder that they're playing two regular season games and then come back and play a spring training game against the Angels on the 23rd.
I don't like it.
I'm totally confused by that.
I don't
I am
like it.
totally confused by that. Why would they just not make it an exhibition series? And by the way, if they were going to make it part of the regular season, why don't they do it next weekend? I mean, I know the travel's tough, but then
see, here's the thing, because I seen Shohei homered off a Japanese team, so they must have done an exhibition showcase before this 2-game
Right.
series.
so weird.
Jesse, tell your dad to call.
It's just
Rob
it's a money
Manfred
grab.
and to complain
Yeah.
and find out what
Listen,
the deal is.
It's a money grab.
I will do that.
and it's a way for the Dodgers to afford to defer all these enormous contracts
Oh my
that they
gosh.
keep signing.
The Dodgers might have the best lineup in the history of baseball.
I do want to say the National Baseball Hall of Fame tweeted today. It's a picture of some fucking douchebag from the Hall of Fame, and he's holding the dude's cap. He goes, the first winning pitcher of the 2025 season, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, is donating his cap from Game 1 to the Hall of Fame. Like, who gives a? I go, this is going into the who gives a shit wing of the Hall of Fame. Like, what? They won't even put Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to get the fucking cap from the Game 1 winner in a series no one even watched. The Baseball Hall of Fame is so out of touch and stupid, just like baseball and the fucking Sixers.
Meanwhile, Savannah Bananas are selling out 65,000.
Right, they're selling out
stadiums.
Tampa Bay.
But did you see in the Dodgers game today had a Eagles connection?
Yeah, Rodney Peete
called
a
snagged
foul
the
ball
ball off of Max Muncy foul ball.
No.
Apparently,
Pretty
Rodney
cool.
Pete's, I think, one of his kids works for Dodgers.
Yeah, one of his kids is
and he was in his stands, and Max Muncy came over for foul ball, and he's like, nope, just snagged it out of his hand. Shout out Rodney Pete for that. Fuck the Dodgers.
Excuse my Rodney language. Pete.
Shout
out Rodney Pete and his wife, still Holly, whatever her name is.
And did you see Holly Robinson, Pete? Did you see Ohtani didn't get a homer and they awarded him one anyway because MLB is a bunch of fucking
because they're in Japan.
weirdos.
There's no way they weren't going to give him that. There's no
it's
way
a double.
They
the dude fucking reached his hand out. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're in a different country. The rules are the rules.
What was that TV show with Holly Robinson, Pete?
Was it?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Not Hanging with Mr. Cooper, was it?
Yeah, well, it was, right?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Okay. I gotta look that up. Sorry, that just came to my mind. And
it was definitely one of those. Yeah, either that or the one with
was there an obscure commercial related to that show that you want to talk about? Or anything?
No, but Mark Cooper did have an episode where he was a player on the Warriors and he was on the team, and I think Chris Mullen was in the episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper,
and he was drunk.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
He was drunk.
Nice pull, Fink.
That's what we learned. He was
pull
drunk.
Fink. I pulled it. He just said her name, and I pulled the fucking show.
I pulled it.
He said the show.
I said, hang on, Mr. Cooper. You go, yeah, I think that's it. So you pulled it?
Before we started here tonight, the issue here is before we started tonight, Fink, in his absence, has missed breaking Meech's balls. And he really got into Meech a little bit beforehand. So you can see that's kind of feeding into Meech's
crying.
Yeah, the pre-show.
Anger, you can feel
I was so angry,
but
control. Jesse was worried. He's like, this show's going to go off the rails. Meech has cursed like 50 times already, and his show's even started. But I thought
me cursing.
That was pretty good.
Meech is rubbing off on me.
But usually, if you follow Meech's the veracity and frequency of his cursing, it usually ramps up. And if you get to the last 15, 20 minutes, it's a bloodbath. Yeah. But tonight, before we even started, he was already peaking, and I was like, "This is going to be a big problem." But he hasn't disappointed because here we are at the end, and he is very riled up.
It's why I take 2 different types of blood pressure medication.
Right. Thank you for that.
I'm a hot-headed fella.
HIPAA violation. I guess it's not when you share the information yourself.
I don't know if anyone's got any kids, but if you've seen Inside Out, I'm the fucking Lewis Black character that just turns into flames every 6 minutes.
That is so good. That is such a dad shit, and I love it.
All right. Well, guys.
On that note,
we could stay here.
Good luck with your brackets,
night,
unless you're picking against St. John's. In that case,
VCU and McNeese State parlay is a plus 656 for tomorrow.
That's the City Pigeons parlay.
Listen, I don't want to rain
11 and a 12. That's nice. A little upset
McNeese
special.
Coach is leaving. The coach is leaving to go somewhere else. They've already announced that.
He's going from McNeese to McNephew.
Wow.
Holy shit, that was such a great joke.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Get him out
man,
of
how
here.
do I come up with him that quick, man?
I don't know.
McNeese to McNephew. Holy shit, bro.
For
I just fucking killed it.
For anybody that's paying attention,
hello 911.
Cut that joke and post it on fucking TikTok.
We got him. He's not leaving this room.
For anybody that's paying attention to this on a week-to-week basis, next week we're going to be off unless Fink and Meech can figure out how to.
I think we might do a Fink and Meech show next week.
It's the Fink Meech show.
I'll set that up for you guys. I would love that.
StreamYard
up, and who knows? Maybe
from Jimmy's Timeout live in the Northeast. It's the Fink and Meech show.
The Northeast boys.
Yeah.
No, you know what?
Yeah,
do it.
We can really get Jimmy's to do that in the ringside room or whatever they got. You know what,
guys, this is a motivation level I haven't seen. So if this is what it takes to fire you up, go ahead and do it. I'll help you. But
It's the Fink Meat
who
Show. Fink Meat Show.
he's
I'm in if
unhinged.
we're getting these vocals.
He's
That
unhinged.
was the Even Flow remix of Fink Meat Show.
Actually, you know what? Now I can
You
hear
get it?
that.
You
That's
dig it?
really good.
It's the
So,
Fink Meat Show.
Assuming we don't have a Fink Meat Show next week, we will be coming back right into the baseball season, which would be good because we've been, kind of delaying getting around to that. So we'll
Tailgate
have
season.
to, we got to get a Phillies tailgate. To keep talking about it, guys. We can look at the calendar, get that set up. But we'll be around.
I also have to warn you, if you see me out this week, there's only like 5 times a year I get to wear this jersey. So I'm probably going to wear it like 3 or 4 times during this tournament. So don't think I'm dirty. I'm just wearing it.
That's
out.
probably
I got
gonna mean
I got a shirt underneath it. and
All right,
everything.
Dirtball.
That's going to mean an
early.
early
You
exit
love
for
St.
St.
John's,
John's,
that's okay.
baby. All right.
He hasn't
Everybody,
watched that since the 1990s.
if you're still with us, we love you. Thank you. And we
Love
will
you
be
all.
back in a couple weeks.
I do love you.
and keep talking about things. Thank you.
Bye.
Carry on.